This episode is brought to you by Audi. The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. It's not just a new EV. It's a new way to experience driving. The all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron is here. The next chapter of Audi starts now.
Welcome to Marketecture, where you can get smart fast with in-depth interviews of leading technology executives. I'm Ari Paparo. I'm joined today by Alex Persky-Stern, who is the CEO of Waymark. Alex, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to hear about Waymark because it seems to be a substantial company that I've never heard of. So give us the basics. What is it? How big is it? Like how many employees you have, where you're based, etc.
Yeah, totally. We are a remote company, but based here in Detroit, Michigan. We're, got our Midwest roots, and we're about 35 people, making it really, really easy to create videos with AI. So we really focus on AI video production.
Right. Awesome. And what's your fundraise status? Have you raised money?
We raised a little bit of money several years ago. So yeah, small VC round.
Okay. So tell me, what does this product do and who uses it?
Yes. So we are fundamentally trying to take down all the barriers to creating high quality video ads. And we do a lot in the TV and streaming space, but really across all platforms. And our customers are actually the platforms, not the advertisers. So we work with a lot of the major media companies and are now growing into more of the advertising tech and agency space, as really anybody who's working on selling media needs help with the production.
Right. And when you say production, is this brand new ads from scratch, or is this fixing assets, or what?
Exactly. Brand new from scratch. And we do a lot with the long tail to mid-market. So kind of the heart of the product. It'll take any website, whether that's a business website or like a product listing, and pull in the information, produce ads, and you have full editing control of that as well.
Right. And so where, a video ad typically has video in it. So how do you create video if someone doesn't have video?
Yes, we can work with just about anything. Even, many of these businesses have very few assets. So at the heart is we've produced a ton of motion graphics professionally, and we have trained AI how to combine business assets with those motion, as well as tell the story, write the voiceover, do the scripting, all of that kind of stuff. On top of that, if you have your own assets, great. But if you don't have footage, like many businesses don't, we can supplement with that with stock. We have a full Shutterstock integration. And now the really exciting thing is with AI, you can start to turn images into videos. So
right.
Take a static image, turn it into motion.
Okay, so how take me through the product. Like, is this just like a prompt, like an AI prompt, like give me a video of my gas station and feature the Cheetos on sale? Or is there, more of an assembly process and you mentioned Shutterstock. Like, how does that become involved?
Yeah, it's all very fast, but it is using actual business assets. So you'll basically plug in a website first. We'll go collect all the information, your logo, your color palette, how you talk about your business, as well as all the assets. Then you can give it a prompt. We'll actually write the prompts for you, so you don't have to, but you can if you want. Generate, you get an ad. You can also riff through several if you want, or, take one and edit it.
Right. Okay. So the customers, the end advertiser, you said, is torso and tail. So we're talking about like the traditional model where the cable TV company is selling to the local advertisers and the regional advertisers. Is that like the sweet spot here?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, we're working with pretty much all the major cable and broadcast groups, as well as, if you got that ad tech sales group. And then we also plug the platform into self-serve platforms. So that the advertiser can do it themselves. It's all white labeled,
right,
but they can kind of take that on for themselves.
So in that typical use case, though, is the hands-on keyboard more likely to be sort of an ad ops or account manager at the cable company?
You got it.
Right.
Exactly.
Got it. And then how do you react to the typical problems with AI, the six fingers and the weird teeth and the eating spaghetti?
Yeah, we've taken a very practical approach. I'd say there's a lot of like nifty demos that have six finger problems. We've been really focused on using businesses' actual assets and our professionally designed motion graphics to create nice looking motion. But we really don't integrate like just generate a person from scratch out of nowhere, because it's not only is it kind of rife with those problems, it's also not really what advertisers want. They want their own content.
Right. Okay. So now we'll get to the advertisers. You mentioned kind of approval processes. Like, how often is the first draft approved versus having to go back?
Oh yeah. Well, everybody's got notes. I don't think you'll ever meet a business that doesn't have their creative vision of whatever they want. But that's kind of the beauty of Waymark 2. It's not like generate and just hope and get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You actually can make fine-grained edits directly too.
Right. Another problem with AI is that it often has problems with the words and logos. So how are you overcoming those problems?
Which kind of logo problems are you talking about?
Well, like if you ask an AI to like give me a McDonald's logo in this ad, it won't do it. But also, totally. Like if you give it a logo, it may manipulate it and not make it look right.
Got it. Right. And that's kind of our approach, is not going to allow AI to do any of that stuff. We basically take an orchestration approach. So we've gotten your assets from your online presence, and we're going to use that directly. And we're just going to say, hey, write a story that it would be a compelling story for this business, but don't mess with its assets.
Yeah. In terms of, do you disclose what AI models you use behind the scenes?
Yeah, we use a whole bunch. So it's kind of a long list. Our basic approach has been to break video down into very small modules. Mm-hmm. So we have 13 different modules that are creating video. So we use kind of the best in class for each task.
Got it.
Like Claude is a good storyteller. We use that for writing. We use different computer vision models to understand people's assets. GPT-04 Mini is fast for large amounts of content. So we use it for like more bulk production type of things. So it's really kind of across the board.
Where do you see this going long term, like both for your company and for other folks who are investing in this area? Do you think it breaks out of the small advertiser who doesn't have creative, and how soon does that happen?
Yeah, 100%. I think it breaks out in two directions. One, it for sure is going to continue to go up market. We just launched Waymark 2 last week, which is moving from kind of that small business into more of the bid market. Large brands are certainly coming down the pipe. I think the more exciting and interesting direction for me is the scale. Right now, you kind of go through that process we just talked about, which is very fast. You can have an ad in 5 minutes, but it still is a manual process. What we're bringing this year is automated generation. Where we see this going in the next couple of years is fully automated optimization for large scale content.
Right.
So that's kind of I think, where things really get interesting.
So is your model generally more like a creative agency where your AI and tools are creating just a pretty small number of versions, or are you referencing a future world where you're creating a lot of versions and optimizing?
Yeah, both. So for the kind of smaller business campaign, kind of that traditional stuff, you basically get your one creative or a handful of creatives.
Right.
Where the scale comes in right now is you can produce for way, 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 way more businesses than you used to be able to. Mm-hmm. So that's what's fun and exciting about that. But yeah, exactly where you're headed is all of this stuff can now be generated automatically. And it's a short order of time before it's being reviewed, adjusted, approved, and optimized based on actual performance data.
Yeah, right. It's hard in video and CTV. The signal that comes back is not very strong.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the general pricing model? How do these, I guess, media companies are your customers, and how would they pay you?
Yeah. So we have a SaaS model. We basically give access to the platform, and then the scale by how much you're actually using it. Are you producing a handful of videos or tons of videos? But it's really a tech license fee.
Right. So it's not per impression volume. Like it doesn't serve.
So yeah, that's been kind of our historical model for these media companies you're mentioning, as we're moving into more of the ad tech space. We'll have some fun announcements on that in the next couple months here. There is more of a drive for some of that CPM pricing as well, so that you can, package that into the pricing that is already being used.
Yeah, I mean, I guess your customers might prefer CPM pricing in a sense.
Yeah, and it really depends on the customer. But yeah, I think for a lot of the places that we're headed, that CPM pricing is probably more the direction of the future.
Is there any likelihood of you going direct to consumer, in this case business?
Not a lot. And I'd say the fundamental reason for that is we have really two foundational beliefs. One is in the near future, most ads are going to be generated. And that's not even to say there will be fewer ads that are traditionally produced. It's just there are going to be way more ads.
Right.
So most of these are going to be professionally produced or automatically produced. And then the second belief is that the platforms are going to be responsible for that creative tech. And I think the same way that audience data and targeting has become a responsibility of the platform, the creative is going to follow that same pattern where if a platform doesn't provide creative tech, what are they doing?
Right. Interesting.
And so that's where we think that creating the relationships with the platforms is really the direction of the future.
What do you think about the argument that this is all going to be commoditized and just as the AI platforms develop at some point, any publisher would be able to just plug into their cloud provider's AI and produce commercial ready videos with a prompt?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be amazing developments in video generation. And so I think what we do today, which is mostly produce assets, that's going to, over the next 5 years, start to become relatively straightforward to do. And the key is that tapping into the actual ad tech ecosystem so that you're generating for every audience, you're generating contextually relevant content, you're optimizing based on the performance data that gets getting back across all your campaigns. There's so much power in the workflow and context and outcomes that is really specific to the industry. So the big horizontal players like OpenAI aren't going to do that.
Right. Interesting. Okay, let's go to a quick lightning round. We'll have relatively quick questions and hopefully quick answers.
I'll do my best.
What's your biggest challenge right now?
Always keeping up with the pace of AI. There's so much incredible technology moving quickly, and we just got to always be rolling into the product.
What's the biggest reason why customers would not use your product?
Moving too slow. I think people have a lot of fear of AI, but I think that embracing AI is, the move that everyone's going to have to take here.
Right. What would stop the big guys, the Amazon, Googles, Metas, from crushing you?
I think that Amazon, Google, and Meta, particularly Google and Meta, will build for their own ecosystem. And so, we don't really think of Google and Meta as potential customers. We think of ourselves as a platform for everybody else.
Right. Makes sense. It would be ideal if they would see you as a potential customer or as a vendor, but seems unlikely.
Totally.
All right. Last question. If your company was an animal, what animal would it be?
My spirit animal is the iguana. So I think maybe it would live after that. I think they've got, great calm as well as beauty. We're ultimately a creative company and we love the creative itself.
All right. There you got it. Iguana. All right, Alex from Waymark.
You had that one before?
No, I've not. I've gotten chameleon. I thought you were going to go chameleon because it changes colors and stuff.
No, totally.
We get at least 1/3 of the answers are lion. So just as long as you don't say lion, I'm pretty happy.
Deal.
All right, Alex from Waymark. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Marketecture Podcast. New episodes come out every Friday, and an insightful vendor interview is published each Monday. You can subscribe to our library of hundreds of executive interviews at marketecture.tv. You can also sign up for free for our weekly newsletter with my original strategic insights on the week's news at news.marketecture.tv. And if you're feeling social, we operate a vibrant Slack community that you can apply to join at adtechgod.com.